multitasking versus selective attention. I had this misconception that the two can be used interchangeably, and was I wrong? The human brain isn't capable of truly running two processes that require cognitive processing at the same time. Here's an example. I need you to think of a time, or you know what? After watching this video, you can do it with two friends. Think of a time where you had two people talking to you at the same time. One is this side, the other one is on the other side. Now, when these two people are relaying information, and let's assume it's different information to you, right? While these two people are relaying the different information to you, one of two things will happen. One, you will tune out one person and focus on the other. Or two, you will try keeping both of them active and end up catching bits of information from both of them. Ultimately, the information would be meaningless. Somebody else would say, well, Lapane, what about the third situation where you hear none of them? In that case, you're not listening. So that doesn't qualify. The point I'm trying to say to you is your brain cannot run two processes at the same time. It will decide what deserves the most attention. And in the case of two people talking to you, it'll use the basis of who you respect more, who you like more, or who has the most relevant information to you. I'd first like us to contrast the two before we go further. Selective attention is defined as the act of focusing one's mental faculties on a source of information while tuning out outside stimuli or internal stimuli. The focus is given based on urgency or relevance of information to the individual. So an example of this would be, imagine you're in a lecture hall, right? And while the lecturer is giving a lecture, something bumps you on the head. Assuming that thing bumps you hard enough on the head, you will miss whatever the lecturer is saying for a minute to attend to the source of information that requires more attention, the one that has more urgency to it. You select it. I give another example so that we can cement this idea. A second example is, assume you're in public focusing on your phone. While focusing on your phone or listening to a video, you hear somebody call out your name. Lapan. If you can hear that person for a second, you will switch your attention to that person and then get back, because that person in that moment has a higher urgency. Now, for multitasking. In layman's terms, multitasking is defined as the act of doing two things at the same time. To my knowledge, human beings can easily multitask if none of the tasks require intentional thought or intense focus. In multitasking, there are two main cases. So the first one requires physical labor, while the second one requires mental labor. But the one with mental labor has to be light. The second case is both tasks are physically taxing. They require you to use your body. So again, just for clarity, the two cases where we can multitask is one of the tasks is mentally light, load-wise. The second task is physically oriented. The second case is both tasks are physically oriented. A prime example of this would be riding a bicycle while listening to music, washing the dishes while listening to a podcast or an audiobook. The examples are many. You can think of one that you do. By my observation, there are four main conditions required to end up in one of the two cases of multitasking. The first condition is only one of the tasks can require intentional and active focus. We'll call this one task one. For our second condition, we have that the second task must not be so intense that it disrupts the processing of the first task. Third condition is the second task must be something habitual or something that's been done multiple times to a point where you don't need to actively use your brain to do it again. And the last condition, the fourth one, the second task must use motor skills, or the tasks themselves, task one and task two, must use different sensory channels. Okay? You can't be listening to a song while listening to a lecture. You know? You can't be speaking while speaking. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. With multitasking, it is always imperfect. Often you will find that when you multitask, the quality of your work is significantly lower than if you had decided to just do one task at a time. The only way to multitask efficiently is if you don't multitask at all. What inspired this thought was I was talking to a friend of mine and she was telling me a story. In that story, she mentioned how she had many thoughts happening at the same time in her head. She was thinking 1, 2, and 3, and 4 at the same time. And I thought to myself, you can't do that. But she said, I can. We had a long discussion about it. But then when I did my research, I came to learn that what people call multitasking in their heads is actually rapid selective attention. Think of it like this. A computer has a CPU. Let's say the CPU has only one core. With this single core, the computer is able to run multiple processes at the same time. But in reality, it's not doing that. I will call it phantom parallelism. It can't run 3 processes in parallel. What it does is, while you're running the first process, it focuses on that. As soon as you need the second one, the computer switches and it focuses on the second process. To you, it seems as if they're all running at the same time, but it's not really doing that. Our brains do the same thing. We can't keep track of 3 thoughts at the same time. You can only keep track of one thought, and if you're good at it, you can rapidly switch between different thoughts to a point where it seems like you're thinking of 3 things at the same time. In my experience, multitasking can be useful, but the skill is just not worth the time and effort required to cultivate it, because you can't even perfect it. In a manner of speaking, the juice is not worth the squeeze. I can't remember the last time I needed to solve or think of a math problem while thinking of how to make money and thinking of how to solve that other problem. I've never had a situation where I had to do that. I don't think we can multitask. If we were ever to multitask, we would have to evolve into multi-brain organisms. Chasing or living by the myth of multitasking is an easy way to tire yourself out and produce below par results. A more worthwhile thing to do is learn to wield your attention at will. This is all part of the journey of mastering the art of attention and concentration. Selective attention is a crucial skill that you'll develop as you learn to take control of your attention, to take control of your focus. You cannot learn to control your attention without learning how to direct it. The more you do this, the better you get at it. And with that said, I believe this brings us to the end of our episode. If there's anything I said that resonated with you, one truth, or even just one thought, then please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody who might need to hear this. This is not just content. This is a conversation. And the more people we bring into it, the sharper we all become. I bid you farewell, and remember, the streets are for the brave. Thank you for listening.